right, we are live. What is up, everyone? I am Charlie Shrem, your host, and we're here with Voyager CEO Steve Ehrlich for the Golden Record broadcast and Untold Stories, hopefully the Untold Stories podcast as well. Steve, thank you so much for coming on the show today. Oh, it's actually your show.
Oh, glad to be here again. It's
Yeah,
our show. It's not my show. It's our show, right?
it's
It's
our show
always good to
together,
be
and
chatting with you on our show.
we got to record 3 episodes of this show prior to, I think it was prior to New Year's, and um, everyone can go on the Voyager YouTube channel to watch some of those shows. But it's fun to like see the updates and the changes that Voyager has gone through in those months. I was just uh, like reminiscing with Amateo earlier and my wife, how like I remember when Voyager was just had a little booth in the corner in a Bitcoin conference in Vegas a few years ago, and look what you guys are now. Just announced the other day, $1.1 billion assets under management. Congratulations! What do you think about that?
It's been crazy since the last time you and I got together. A couple things, right? 1.1 billion. We raised 150 million. The Bucks win the Super Bowl, so we get all those things. And but no, it's been a wild ride for us. It's been astounding what we've been able to accomplish, and we don't see anything slowing down. Business just keeps pouring in, new customers coming into the platform. We're excited by all this growth, but I think it's a bigger story behind that. Our growth is there, and it's because adoption's happening, right? We see more and more people coming into the crypto market, and I think what sets us apart is the ability to have all these other coins in our own token. And it's really gained a lot of consumers into our platform with some of the things we have coming too. But it's exciting. I mean, since the last time we got together, it's been a lot of work. Got through the new year. A lot of things happened. 1.1 bill, as we said, and $146 million raised on our balance sheet now, which is just awesome. Puts
When
us
you're
in a
talking
whole nother level.
When you're talking about crypto, you're talking about Voyager eventually becoming like everyone's de facto financial system. Everything that you ever do in finance information and anything, Voyager will be that company. And so the other day, I think it was like in January or is December, the end of January, you started going through like an amazing, exceptional growth. But I didn't. So usually when you have apps or companies or projects, it's like the Reddit screen of death because they like shut down and crash the apps of these companies, right? I didn't notice any issue with anything from the transfers
Mm.
to the Bitcoin withdrawals for 58 coins and tokens. You have to run and maintain 58 different node infrastructure. It's crazy. I didn't notice a a downgrade in the quality of the app, and I never felt an issue at all. However, with that crazy growth, you had to implement a wait list, and so I wanted to ask, and a lot of people are going through it and are very excited about it. Instead of like having a million people just start using the app immediately, why create the wait list idea to focus on like? Or I guess I'm going to answer my question. I'm not going to do. But why
Yeah.
go? How did you know immediately how to deal with growth that was so crazy within 1 month? You were getting more user signups than you had already in the past.
Yeah. Well, we did have an issue, right? January 28th, 29th, we had an issue. We were down for a period of time where our team was amazingly rebuilt the entire infrastructure and put a lot of things in place so we could scale quicker and quicker and quicker. And there might be, there are times where it might be scaling on the fly, and people see a little bit of stuff on that. But we scale on the fly. Literally went from 40,000 user accounts, funded accounts, the end of December to 106 by the end of January. Um, and we decided to go to the wait list when we had that downtime on the 28th and 29th of January. Speaking with my partner and co-founder Oscar Salazar, we're like, let's go to the wait list approach. Let's make sure we can scale this judiciously. Our expectations had been to be, 100,000 users a couple of months down the line, not go from 40 to 100 in literally
Oscar
1 month.
scaled Uber, right? He was one of the
Yeah, and
people
well,
that
that was the
built
key, right? That was the key. We got on the phone immediately and like, Oscar, what do we do here? He's like, hey, let's put it in a wait list. Let's get, we brought a whole second team of developers with us and architects to help us scale it out, and immediately went into action to do that. And his first comment was, ah, this is old hat. I did this at Uber. So it was kind of, we had the right guy who was guiding us on how to do it. And we have that wait list now. And we think in a really short time frame coming up here, we're going to be back to live account opening. We're excited by that, and consumers will be able to go back to the traditional way of downloading the app and get through our funnel in 3 minutes or less. It'll happen sooner rather than later, so we're excited by that.
Awesome. Awesome. That's a really amazing thing, and it's the wait list is a rolling thing too. So everyone's getting they're getting accepted as they signed up.
Yeah.
Uh, and it's like such a product of this crazy bull market that we're in, but it really doesn't kind of like feel like a bull market. It feels the same that it felt the last time we did our show before the new year. And I talk to a lot of retail traders. I see a lot of people on Twitter and social media, but in Voyager, in the token and in the publicly traded stock, you have a lot of funds. You have a lot of institutions that are coming in as well, buying Bitcoin through Voyager. Where do they think we are in this bull run? The institutions are getting in now. They're not stupid. They don't get in late to things.
Well, look, I think they did in electronic trading, if you remember that. And as you know, I tend to cross the line of the old school with what's happening now. In the late '90s, early 2000s, online trading was really the privy of retail consumers. Institutions didn't come in. We sold our business into E-Trade in '99, and we started being the first to adopt institutional online trading. So they're a little bit later into the game here too, as well in crypto. But I think the difference here is, and I think we've seen it over the last couple of weeks. Retail consumers are flocking to cryptocurrency, whether it's Bitcoin or one of the other 50 something odd coins we have. And the reason they're flocking to it's the only fair market. It's the only fair and equitable market for retail consumers. You don't have market makers of size, and you don't have the same structure you do in the equities and option markets where the institutions play such a key role. And you start with GameStop, right? And we have the testimony going on today, uh, that those guys control so much that retail consumers felt that they were put behind the institutions in that. And crypto is the only market retail investors can go to and make more money than the institutions can. And I think that's awesome for retail investing, and why we've always focused on retail. We're going to stay focused on retail. We want to make sure our consumers all create wealth through crypto.
What was happening there with the whole GameStop Robinhood thing in a nutshell, and how would that have been different if it was a crypto that was being traded? Well, it is
I,
crypto that's being traded.
yeah. Look, I think overall, if there wasn't a better use case for the financial trading markets to be on the blockchain and in crypto, then there was nothing better than the GameStop issue. Rumors of 140% of the GameStop shorted, like that couldn't happen on the blockchain, right? You can't double use a coin to short it on the blockchain. It would never happen. And so I think there was this whole steamroll effect of uh, consumers seeing that, realizing that some institution was trying to overshort the stock, and they just retail consumers came together and fought back. And I think kudos to retail consumers for showing their muscle. This goes through cycles. Day trading was a big thing in the late '90s, early 2000s, where retail consumers were really doing really well. And then rules came in place on pattern day trading, which limited day traders, the number of day traders, because you had to have 25,000 in an account to do that. I think the same thing, the same thing happened on the GameStop. And I think, look, it comes back to who's really going to control the markets long term. And I think retail consumers have their place in the market to earn wealth and create wealth.
Yeah. Well, just yesterday, so you see a lot of like um MicroStrategy buying hundreds of millions of dollars of Bitcoin, and all these major companies and banks and financial institutions that are not even publicly announcing it. And then yesterday you had the Motley Fool that just announced that they're putting a very nice $5 million worth of Bitcoin on their balance sheet. A very sound invest, actually a very good number, and people who have a good net worth, like $100 million plus, that's a very solid number to allocate into crypto. It doesn't you're not supposed to be putting all of everything into this. And they outlined why. And to me, that was a big turning point when they did it, because Motley Fool is one of the oldest investing advisory firms in the world, right?
Yeah, I think it is a turning point, and I think we've seen a lot of turning points over the last 12 months, right? I
Sure.
think if you go back, the COVID pandemic started almost 12 months ago, and March 12th was a turning point, right? When Bitcoin went to 3,500. and rebounded back. All that is turning points. Every single one of these things that have happened over the last 12 months has helped gain, more notoriety for cryptocurrencies, have people come into the ecosystem. Motley Fool coming in is great. Yeah, 5 million, that's fine. I mean, and I think
Yeah.
we're seeing it on our side because corporations are coming to us and saying, "Hey, can I buy a little Bitcoin and hold it with you? You know, can I buy some USDC and earn the interest with you?" So we're seeing this adoption of this. There's no doubt in my mind over the next, few years, every corporate treasury is going to hold USDC or Bitcoin on their balance sheet, and they're going to earn interest, and they're going to create, they're going to create themselves to have a better, more, sound treasury department. I just think that's happening. It's already happening.
If everyone's getting better yield and crypto companies are getting broker dealer licenses, they're getting publicly traded, they're getting banking licenses, trusts, it's moving in that direction. How will like regular banks compete now? Will they start offering crypto services? You think they'll offer like higher interest? Like how are they really gonna how are these, banks that you see on street corners? I mean, they're like McDonald's. They have hundreds of branches that only two people walk into per day.
Yeah, well, the whole brand strategy is something that blows my mind still
What's
to
gonna
this day.
happen there? That's
Look,
crazy.
I think it's changing. I think we started that change way back, 20 years ago. E-Trade bought Telebank, which was an online bank, and they stayed true to the online banking. Then they opened branches, but then they shut them down because they realized, branch strategy it only works in certain markets. It doesn't work in a lot of markets. I think banks will have to change their model. I think that the bank on your local corner, some of the banks we use, they're going to have to get into crypto, meaning not just process, ACHs and wires, but
Yeah.
actually hold crypto and bring those crypto offerings to consumers. It's great for us. I mean, obviously, we could power a lot of that for those people, but I think they will have to do that on their balance sheet. Look, the OCC already said that OCC regulated banks can hold crypto on their balance sheet. So that's going to come. These models are going to change, but a bank changing the way they do business,
They're the
it's
last
like a
ones.
battleship. It's like a battleship in the ocean. We'll see it in battleship takes 4 days to turn around.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we'll see what happens with these banks.
Speaking of programs, I know that you guys have been spending so much time and energy and effort, whole department on the new Voyager loyalty program, the VLP, and we've talked about that before as you're conceptualizing it and then coming out. But there's all the announcements are out now, all the details are out now. The LGO VGX token merger, token swap, uh, is not only well loved by the community right now, but you guys took the feedback from the Golden Record episode that we did. You took feedback from social media. You made changes, tweaks, and adjustments. And then the community freaking loves it. I mean, look at the price of the token. Look at the feedback you're getting. The only question I get a few questions, but really the major question is when. A lot of people are asking.
Yeah. So first we from our golden record, from some of the tweets I got, DMs I got, and just reading Twitter and reading social media, we made changes. We made the base of the whole program being ownership of Voyager token, which we think is really important to unlock the ecosystem. That doesn't mean we don't think there's other programs that could go in place at some point in time. But we wanted the core of the program to always be based on the Voyager token. We heard the feedback. We think it's great. You move up levels in airline points and so forth by getting those airline miles, and you can gain more Voyager tokens by using the platform and engaging. So to the swap, we're working. Everything's going great on the security audit. We're working with various exchanges on this. We're hopeful in the next 6 to 8 weeks we can get it launched and in out there and get the swap done. There's just a lot of moving parts with it,
Sure.
and you got to work with the MetaMask. You've got to get a whole bunch of things that have to get done. So we're there. We're getting closer and closer. But the key part was getting actually the economics of the Voyager loyalty program out into the marketplace.
Yeah, that was the hardest part, and you get to like, it's a great testament to what economics is because it's half math, half science, like development, but it's also half like social. It's like it's our psyche,
Yeah.
and if people didn't like it, then there's no point of doing it. Users were asking if the VLP will be actually promoted and talked about within the Voyager app itself.
Yeah, we're working on some things on that front. Key for us really with the Voyager app is to make sure that based upon what happened, January 20th, 29th, we keep scaling, and by adding more things into the app, we're scalable. We will promote it in the app at some point. No set time frame on that. But you did mention something like all the Voyager loyalty program details are out. Not all, because I would never, I never ever ever puke everything out all at once. So I hate that. I hate when companies do that and say like, here's everything, and there's nothing left. We expect to make changes to the program, add more things where you can earn more tokens, bring more engagement type usage to the platform, and therefore gain tokens from using the platform and being on the platform. We have a whole plan of additional things to come there. My team knows this all the time. I always say I hate puking stuff out. I just want to put some out, get people excited, and have them come back and want to keep using the platform and trade and do other things. So there's more to come. It's not everything yet.
I was actually struggling with this yesterday a little bit because a friend called me up who's Canadian, and he was asking me about Voyager. Um, and so the question I have for you is really you're the first, if not one of the only companies to really push the token forward and say this token word that got dirty in 2017, we're gonna make it awesome and clean and great. And focusing on that has been so important. So people, how do you explain to some institutions or really just like friends and family who don't know anything about crypto? Uh, it's very simple to explain what a stock is and what
Yep.
what that is. But like from a high level and someone who doesn't know what crypto is, like what framework does this token fit into? Like it's a bare asset that gamifies. Like how do you explain it to people and institutions?
It's pretty interesting. It's a great question. I look at it and say, hey, we are creating our own loyalty program off of this asset,
Love it.
and what we're trying to encourage people to use the platform, gain wealth from our token because they're getting all these rewards and benefits back for it. So a lot of cases I say, hey, look at your Marriott rewards, look at your American Airlines rewards, or any of those hotel or airlines, and think about if they were able to put those on the blockchain, put them on, make an ERC20 token out of it, and let people engage and trade them and create wealth and buy more because they want to use it to pay for an airline ticket and so forth. That's what we're doing here. Is basically took a token, trying to build an entire community around the token, and that community is growing. Pat Ackerman has some great stuff about this. He writes on Medium about the Voyager token and the Metcalfe's law, about more and more people that join our community, join the platform, get more benefits by it. We're going to buy more tokens, so it winds up being simple economics, right? The demand is exceeding the supply, and the supply is kind of cut at a certain
Mm,
number. Yes, there's 7% staking interest each year, but that's the only increase in those tokens, and we're going to burn some back. So it's a finite number. Airline miles are not finite. You keep flying, you get more. There's no finite pool of them. We have a finite pool over time. So it's a valued asset that you can use to get more services. Hey, might use it. Allow people to buy some Voyager gear shortly using tokens and get
oh,
discounts by
awesome.
paying in tokens and so forth. We got all these concepts, but I think that's what we want. Is we want to build. We want to be the financial services firm of the future, and we think the coin and the token is so important to that. And that's why we put so much time and effort into it. And funny little story, I did a presentation with the Canadian Securities Exchange a couple of days ago, and Trevor from Polymath
Oh,
called us
awesome.
a double unicorn. Trevor.
Yeah.
We were talking about you. And Trevor was like, you guys are a double unicorn. In Canadian
Yeah.
dollars, we are soon to be US on the stock and the token. So, it's what you've created is as a company is insane. And we're excited because those consumers are so important to us, and being able to create wealth through that token and the stock to our customers is just makes me feel good, makes me sleep really well at night, although it's only 5 hours.
DeFi, DeFi, DeFi. You keep hearing me talk about it, and we know at the same time that the stock market is at record highs, but the economy is broken in recession. Government debt is off the charts. They're printing trillions of dollars. We need a new financial system, and I've been talking about it. We've all been talking about it. Decentralized finance. We know that too. We know that there's like $40 billion in value sitting in all these DeFi protocols, and it's barely a year old. It's new decentralized finance, and it's brilliant, and it works. And there's a lot of money to be made in things like yield farming, being able to provide liquidity, but a lot of them are high risk. There's scams and rug pulls that are so common to investors. We don't want to repeat what happened a few years ago in the crypto space. But what if there was a way to access those DeFi yields in a safe and transparent way? Well, I had the CEO, Tim Frost of Yield.app, my newest sponsor on the show. Listen to that show and check out Yield.app, because here you have this team that is constantly filtering through all these DeFi investments. They're consolidating your gas fees, and they're only investing in a select few that generate more than 20%. But their risk is not, they're not just investing in these tokens and waiting for them to do well. They're also providing liquidity. They're doing yield farming, all these low risk, high investment to make the infrastructure more efficient and better. So not only you're investing and making money, but you're also helping to grow this ecosystem. Make sure you check them out at yield.app. That's yield.app, and listen to the Untold Stories with Tim Frost, the CEO. What do you think people, not just crypto folk, but what do you think people want to see tokenized down the road? Do they want to see tokenized stocks? Do we want to see tokenized buildings? The user interface and user experience of Voyager is getting us there. I imagine myself being able to do some crazy things in the app down the road. But what do people want? What do the users, because you have to create the products for what they want.
Yeah, I think stocks is a big one. I think uh, first phase for us is to allow stock trading in there, and we're working on that. We'll, hopefully in the next 4 or 6 weeks, we'll have some good stuff on that. But we think the trading of stocks is important. We think that will lead to the tokenization of securities. I think it's a must in the financial services industry. Tokenization of securities is an absolute must in the future to make the stock markets more efficient. No doubt about that.
And this could be like a very stupid question, but what's the point of so if like the SEC came out and said, we are now a decentralized organization, and you can submit your prospectus to us and get it approved or whatever, and you have to follow all the same security like the same auditing every month, and financial reporting and everything like that. But essentially, like, what's the point of getting listed on like a NASDAQ or whatever? Why not just go public through a token through the government? Or is the capital infusion and the liquidity not there yet? Like, there's still, people need to go public. There needs to be tradable stocks, because that's where all the other financial products are, and that's how they all connect to each other. Does that kind of make
It,
sense?
it does make sense, and I think the reason why you go public is you need access to the capital markets, and there's not as many players uh, in the tokenized capital markets yet. Even some of the big exchanges in the
What are
tokenized
we
world
talking
only
about?
have.
How much money here?
Oh, I mean, in the tokenized world, is pennies compared to the capital markets, to the traditional capital markets. Pennies, pennies. Like you talk to some of the tokenized exchanges, the ATSs of T zeros of the world, maybe they have 10 companies listed on their platform. It's nothing. There's nothing there yet. It will come. And so I think companies, even guys like Coinbase, going to go public, which is, I'm hearing 50 times revenue. I'm very happy
Yeah.
about that, by the
That's
way. 50 times revenue
three
puts us
times
in a
their
whole new.
AUM.
It's nutsy numbers we're talking about with
They
that.
have like 30 or $40 billion AUM, and I think their valuation is looking at like 80 to 100 billion. So it's like
Yeah,
something crazy like that.
100 billion is what I heard just yesterday,
Yeah.
and that's like 50 times revenue. I could do the math on my own company, and boy, that's crazy numbers. For valuation of what we should be, if those numbers are accurate. But I think they're going to go public because it's the quickest liquidity event for their holders of the stock, for employees. And I don't think we're there yet in the tokenized world, but I promise you, I know it's coming. I know there's a lot of great exchanges out there on the tokenized, and it will get there. There's no doubt about it. We will get there.
Oh, completely different topic question, but so as the wait list has been going, I've been like I get emails every day. You've earned $25. You've earned $25. I'm the king of referring a friend. I've probably earned $500 of Bitcoin, because, and it's, no one realizes it is the best affiliate program out there right now. Especially, all you have to do is, if you refer your friend to Voyager and they download the app and fund it with $100, you get $25 in Bitcoin. So it's like you can live off of that. You just get like a few people a week and it's like awesome. But what's the send to a friend feature? I just saw that.
Yeah, we're working on launching that in very near future, where you can send it to somebody else, send to a friend and get them signed up by just sending the tokens through our send to a friend app feature on the app. So you can makes it real easy. Someone could claim that and open an account in a minute.
That's so cool.
And yeah, it's and then the other side of that is just not the account. It's like if you're out, you or I betting on the Super Bowl, and I took the Chiefs, you took the Bucks, and you would win. And
Yeah.
even if I took the 20 points, I think you win. Uh, you know, you win the bet, I can just pay you in Bitcoin, instantaneously with no fees. It's not going on the blockchain. It's going between me and you. Uh, and I think there's a lot of use cases for that too. And we're actually getting inbound requests from corporate entities, bodegas, and things like that want to be part of that because they want people to be able to pay using USDC or BTC or something like that and save the fees from the
Sure.
traditional rails.
What's the future of the cash economy? Like cash is really big in the US, and a lot of countries still too, and I don't think it's ever going to go away. What's the future of that, do you think?
Look, I think my bet is that it's going to continually decrease, and people will use apps and just pay each other on USDC coin and digitally, or pay in Bitcoin or one of the other coins. There's no doubt about it. I think the COVID pandemic we've been in, you know, I have a kids who are son and daughter who are in their 20s, and they're going to go to a bar. Nobody's going to pay in dollars anymore. They're going to be like, "Dad, dirty dollars. Don't want to
Yeah,
touch
yeah,
it."
it's true.
They're gonna use QR codes. They're gonna do things like that to pay bills. I just don't look. We're in it now. If you go to a restaurant in New York City, even you know, which is rare. I think they've opened up twenty five
It's like if
percent
you've
now.
been to a restaurant in New York City, I'm like, "What? You can't
Yeah,
what
I don't know
restaurant
how
in New
many
York?"
people here. I did on Sunday, so that's why I could say that as a. But you get the menu on a QR code. So I think eventually your bill's going to come on the QR code. You're just going to be able to boom, done pay, and nobody has to hold debit cards, credit cards. You're going to do everything off QR codes and you swipe in your phone. There's no doubt about it. It's just going to take a little longer.
Yeah, I completely agree. Um, so
It's
every
different up
every
here in New York. It's
yeah.
different in New York than Florida. Florida is like COVID free world.
It was such a different world down here, and I don't wanna talk about, like, COVID a lot, but it's I think I can't wait to study down the road all the different responses and see how, like, what the perfect response, like, would have been, because hopefully if this ever happens again in the future, we'll know how to deal with it. Um, in the Voyager app itself, every coin and token has different interest rates that you can get,
Yep.
and there's largely but now with the new wave of DeFi, I have projects that actually ask me to like for introductions to you guys, but the problem is that they have their own DeFi infrastructure built into their blockchain. For example, like decentralized staking of their own token and other tokens. How could you work with those companies in the future?
We have a task force looking
Task
at that as
force.
well.
I love it.
That trying to as we're going bigger, I have task force, I have strike forces. It's kind of like it's a lot of the stuff we're putting together was stuff we did at E Trade way back in the day. Uh, but we're looking at that, like how we could engage and embrace DeFi a little bit more than just selling the tokens. Like, how do we do that, and how do we take on? There's so many great projects. You know a lot of them. You work with
Sure.
a lot of these guys, and I think we can add some level in there to bring those projects to a broader audience. We have something like over 500,000 users on the app now. So some just use us for market data, but we have that many people on the app. So we could bring those things to the market. We're just thinking about the right way to do it and engage with a lot of those projects. So that's our little task force.
My wife's manager, 'cause my wife's an actress, so and she's gonna be in a film in upstate New York at the end of April. You should come up to the set. It'll be fun. I know it's awesome.
Tell me
Filming
when.
is
It's only
restarting.
a couple-hour drive.
I will. And so her manager the other day, they were going over something, and she downloaded the Voyager app, and she was like, "Yeah, I want to get into some crypto. I want to get into some crypto." She downloaded the Voyager app, and she doesn't know anything about crypto. She didn't know. She downloaded the app and just bought VGX when it was at $1. And she goes, "Charlie, I'm making so much money on Bitcoin right now." I'm like, "How? It's going up, but it's like you didn't buy a lot." And then she showed me her app, and she didn't even get any Bitcoin at all, and it was just so funny and so great. I wanted to share that story with you.
I think the token is over $4.
Yeah, this morning.
Yeah. Woke up to a nice surprise and happy to see that. And next stop 5, next stop 6. And look, I think as more and more people come on that platform and
Sure.
we get the wait list off our plate and people come back in, it's just going to go. There's just so much more opportunity. The amount of people I literally get 40 to 50 Twitter DMs every single day from consumers like, hey, when can I get off the wait list? When can I get off the wait list? And it's moving fast. But once we get rid of the wait list, I think it's just going to be, we're going
Yeah,
to
it's gonna be
skyrocket a little bit
crazy.
more.
And
Yeah.
the beauty of it is that the users now will never see a difference because the app is always, and was something very important, especially when you're trading financial services, is consistency and reliability. That's the one thing that we fall flat on our faces, us as a industry over the years, that has ended bull markets when infrastructure. I mean, there's still jokes about Coinbase going, they still go down. They're going public. It's um
Well, look, I think to that point, we try to scale on the fly. We don't want to take the app down as we see it. We have our scaling mechanisms, and we have tons of monitoring in place. We're trying to do it all on the fly and keep scaling so consumers have the best experience they can. It might cause a little glitch here or there, but I think we're in a pretty good spot now.
one of the yeah, and I love it. One of the questions that I get a lot, it's still very difficult for me to answer. It's not a Voyager related question. It's more of like the crypto industry right now that are offering these percentages. So I know we've talked about it before about the 8.5% and how you guys got to that number and that it's sustainable. And then there's the boosters. So you can get with the new VLP, you can get up to 9.75%, I think, on your USDC, which is amazing, amazing, especially because it doesn't require you to go through all these crazy DeFi hoops and liquidity hodgepodge and blah, blah, blah. So, you know, we're I will kind of leave off with this question. A lot of people, were born and bred and raised thinking that our interest rates from the bank are tied to like the Federal Reserve rates. And it's screw the banks. It's their fault. They'll literally lower their rates or raise their rates and send emails out the same day. But it's not. Those rates are tied to how much money the banks are making, but they still only give us a half a percent. I think you told me once the banks make like 16 or 17% per dollar of our money. Like, what's
They
going
do.
on there?
They do. And I think it's look, the models were set up differently, right? And it comes back to what you said earlier. You have, some of the biggest banks with all these branches, you have to pay for that infrastructure somehow.
Mm,
So instead of the spreads they're making going back to the consumer, they're going back to pay their infrastructure. And I think that's part of the overall issue with banking because, yeah, Fed's giving money out at 0%, really low rates to member banks. And they're turning that capital in and they're investing it and they're making loans and the home equity loans are pretty low, but then they're turning into auto loans that are 6, 7, 8, 10%. And I think that they just need that spread there
sure.
to pay for infrastructure, and people have gotten accustomed to it, right? I mean, people were accustomed to paying $150 a stock trade back in 2000, and that's gone to zero. So I think what we're getting to is a disintermediation of the banks. I do believe in DeFi more and more and more will take a
Mm.
bigger part. I think it's hard for a lot of people to conceptualize, like me trading directly with you or loaning straight to you, so it will take time. But players like us are playing that middleman to bring those parties together to give all that value back to consumers. It's a retail focused strategy versus an institutional focused strategy, and that's
Anyone
what we
could
bring.
be anyone because blockchains don't require permission to join. So you say
Nope.
market makers. Right now, if I hold enough of a coin, like of if I own enough VGX and its trading pair, I could go on Uniswap and be a liquidity provider and get paid by the market for just being a liquidity provider. Me, little old Charlie. Like, it's a
Yep.
crazy world that we live in.
Yep, you could. Look, I think that's the value of blockchain and the value of crypto is you become your own financial service company, you become your own bank, you take control of your finances. And we again think of things as everything's fungible. Stocks are fungible, your cash is fungible, It's like you should be able to use your money 24/7, 365. There's absolutely no reason the stock market's closed as many hours as it
Yeah.
is, or
I
banks.
kind of like it though, to be honest with you. I'm like waiting for the end of market day sometimes. I'm stressed
I
out.
don't mind it. Like the more the stock market's closed, the better it is, for crypto because we're never closed.
Yeah.
And so, you get the fall over people who may trade 9:30 to 4, from 4 to 10 at night,
Yeah.
they're trading crypto. So
Oh,
I,
good point.
I don't really want them to go that way, but it shouldn't be that way.
But can I take it a step further? Can I like want my house to be fungible? Can I want my building to be I have vacation rentals. I want fungibility there. Like I want liquidity there.
Yeah, you should tokenize some of those. Start your own kind of tokenized REIT on all your properties, right? And
I'm trying to, but I swore off doing anything that requires a license, like even cutting hair for the rest of my life. I don't want anything to do
that's a
with that
fair
needs
point.
licenses or
That's a fair
compliance.
point. It's a very fair point. Don't do that one.
Yeah, yeah,
No, but I think there's opportunities for people, and people
sure.
will do some of that, and but that's where I think these tokenized security platforms will come in because they'll only work with accredited investors, and then we have to figure out how to bring it down to the retail masses. But we're just to me, everything's fungible. Whatever you own, it should be fungible. You should be able to loan against it when you want. Well, get a home equity line on your properties. That could take weeks, if not months. Like that's makes no sense to me. Get all this info on the blockchain, and everybody can borrow whenever they want against it.
And it's my fault, it's my ignorance here is that I only understood lending as something you'd borrow but never really worry about repaying. Like, okay, mortgages, credit card debt is, rolling, student debt. These are just like we think of debt as just the only way. But really debt is more about the ability to borrow against. Okay, let me take this back. Let's look at debt transactionally,
Yep.
right? Like, let's look at, okay, I have a deal. How do I borrow for 30 days to complete the deal, then pay it back? If I owned a secondary property that was worth $100,000 and I just needed $50,000 in liquidity for 30 days, right, to purchase like for something or whatever, there's no like it's so cumbersome to do what I just described on vacation rentals. Just a 30-day hard money loan. Oh my god, it's impossible. It's
It would
just
take 30 days
oh, it'd
to
take
get
30 days.
through.
And I have a
Yeah, to
terrible
get
credit
through.
score. I have
And
yeah.
that, I mean, look, I think all these things got to get fungible. I mean, it'll just help the economy, right? When you think about it, if you've got a house, a rental home, and you want to borrow, and it's worth $200,000, and you want to borrow 25 grand to go do something else, buy stock, buy US, we're seeing a lot of people actually take home equities and take the cash and put it in USDC.
Yeah.
So they could, they're playing the spread game. And
That's
look,
what
if
I'm
you want to
doing.
do that, you
I
want
hate
to
to
do that,
say it, but I'm
go for
selling my boat today. I'm selling Satoshi today, and I'm gonna move
it.
it all into USDC.
Look, I
I
mean,
miss it. It's okay.
yeah, I mean, well, I mean, if you had a boat up here, it sucks. Down there, you could use it 365 days a year. Uh, but I think overall, that's what people want to take. They want more yield out of what they hold in their holdings, and everything should be able to generate you yield.
But let's
And I
go
think
further
that's where we're
than
getting
that.
to.
Let's go further than that. You ready? Why? Okay, payday lending. It's probably payday lending, I think, is one of these industries that is just and okay, a lot of them are my friends and great, great people. But unfortunately, a very large percentage of them with their egregious rates, it pushes people back into poverty and it never lets them get out. And like if I can make a dent on the world and like make it a little bit easier for people to become more you can tokenize paychecks. Like if I work for a company, you can tokenize payday lending. Like in an instant in the app, people can get loans against their paycheck where the paycheck gets paid into the Voyager app and then you can charge less of a percentage because you don't have to worry about getting chasing after the person and so you're doing like 6-day loans. Oh my god, it's crazy. It's brilliant.
Let's do that. Let's figure it out. I mean,
I'm
let's look.
serious.
I'm a huge believer in trying to figure out how to pay payroll in USDC, Bitcoin. Let people choose what they want. Companies should go. I got to find the software, or we just got to start another project. I
Yeah.
want to see payroll done on,
Yeah, I
through
want
the
to get paid
mechanism of crypto.
in my
Yeah, you want to
Voyager
get
app.
paid, right? Yeah, you want to get paid straight into your Voyager app with USDC or
Exactly.
BTC. You don't want it to come in dollars, like some of these micro banks. Yeah, okay, you get your money to it's cash. Now you got to move it and go buy. It's like no, you want it into USDC or Bitcoin immediately, or any of the other coins, Voyager token, whatever. you want to be able to do that right away.
Could we potentially see the next level and have everyone with a Voyager account almost have like a sub account number type of thing where they can actually get their payroll direct deposit paid into your Voyager account with bypassing a bank?
In the process. And
Okay,
what I mean by that is we're working hard with you probably saw and viewers probably saw MasterCard came out with some
sure,
like they're getting into cryptocurrency. We're working with our payment processor and MasterCard. And so therefore when the debit card comes out, you can actually you'll have an ABA and your own account number, and your paycheck can go straight into that. And you could automatically then say every single, whatever your paycheck is. Remember, we have the recurring buys in the app. So
sure.
it comes in, you could say, all right, I'm getting paid, my 2 grand every Friday. Well, that 2 grand is going to get automatically bought into USDC. That's the mindset that we have. Like, take it in, convert it
That's what
immediately. So
everyone wants.
that's what they want, right? And then we want to, because of the debit card, you'll be able to use that USDC and go pay, you pay your bills when you go out, buy clothes, go to dinner, whatever. If we ever get to go to dinner again, outside of Florida, but we can,
Yeah,
but yeah, that's what we all want. We want an ecosystem all within crypto.
I love it. Steve, thank you so much for doing another golden record today with us, episode number 4. I'm so excited for episode number 5. This was such a great show, and we've covered so many things today.
Awesome. I'm always great to hang out with you. And congrats on your Bucks. Now that's
Thank you.
2 championships in Tampa now, the Lightning and the Bucks. Uh,
We missed one. I think the Rays didn't win, so we didn't get the
the
baseball
Rays
trifecta.
didn't win.
Yeah,
Yeah, the Rays can't win. My Yankees got to beat them. That's all that matters. My Yankees got to beat them.
that's
So
fine. That's fine.
you'll
That's
give me
fine.
one. You'll throw me one bone.
Yeah, I'll take it. Thanks, Steve,
Well,
and
thank
I'll
you, sir.
talk to you later. And thanks for everyone for watching and listening today. And that was amazing.
Speak to you guys soon.